Hey. Time for an out-of-this-world story from rSpace. Imagine holding the key to a shocking revelation about your best friend, one that could unravel not just her life, but the life of her unsuspecting husband too. Today on rSpace, do you safeguard the truth to protect your friend, or do you reveal it and risk everything? I'm about to ruin my best friend's life, and I don't feel remorse. My soon-to-be ex-best friend and I have been friends since middle school. We know everything about each other. Our families are basically one big family now. You get the idea. Like I said, we tell each other everything. Recently, she came to me telling me she's been having an affair for about 4 months with her superior at her new job. She started about a year ago. She told me, not out of guilt, but to brag about the dream vacation she's going on with her affair partner, disguised as a work trip. She asked me to cover for her if her husband asks if we've been in contact, because she's planning on going black for the week, so he would have no way of finding out. Side note, we've both known her husband since high school. They are high school lovers, so they've been together for almost 15 years. Her husband is one of the most honest, hardworking, genuine people I know. He of course took everything she said about working late and the business trip at face value because he trusts her more than he trusts himself. I told her I would not be covering for her and to get out of my house because I couldn't even look at her right now. Later, I told my husband everything that happened, and he was just as shocked and disgusted. Her husband is basically his best friend now, so he of course has a lot of loyalty to him as well. My husband pointed out something I didn't even think of. Our security camera. It caught everything. We plan on going to her husband tonight with the proof. It will be up to him to do what he wishes with it, but he deserves to know. Secondly, we're taking this to her job. As far as I know, fraternization of any kind is prohibited at her workplace. She was also promoted once by this same superior, so this could be seen as favoritism. Our guess is that they will both be fired. Finally, I'm going to send a snippet of her admitting the affair to all of her family, including mine. As I said, our families are very intertwined, so I will easily be able to contact the majority of her family. I'm not going to give her a chance to spin this against me or her husband. Some may think this is harsh, but I wholeheartedly disagree with what she's doing. Edit to add, I decided to take the advice of some of the commenters and leave it up to our soon-to-be ex to decide to go nuclear or not. As some of you pointed out, he may decide to stay with her, and going nuclear would ruin his life in turn. The other reason is going nuclear and making her lose her job could affect the outcome of the divorce. We still plan to tell him, but we have decided against the other two options for now. I'm going to let soon-to-be ex know if she tries to pin this on either of us or tells anyone a single lie, I will do a 180 and go nuclear. I will not be seen as a villain for a situation I didn't even ask to be in the first place. She was the one who thought it would be smart to tell her monogamous friend with traditional values that she's cheating on her spouse. She can lie in her bed. Small update. Everyone involved. Alyssa is the best friend. Noah, the best friend's husband. I decided to take the advice of a few people and reach out to Alyssa before I went to her husband. I recorded the conversation and let her know I was for my safety. She seemed still extremely nonchalant about the whole thing. I told her I was worried for her, and even for her, this was very out of character behavior. Long story short, she's felt very weak and unbalanced in her and Noah's marriage. For context, Noah went to a trade school and makes very good money, while up until her promotion, Alyssa was making slightly more than minimum wage. She has recently been reading up on some anti-traditional values, and the women in those forums attacked her for making less than her husband. She then explained that she noticed her supervisor was trying to flirt with her, and her internet friends told her to run with it and use him to get higher up. She of course did, but admitted she'd become emotionally attached to him as well. All in all, she admitted she doesn't really regret the affair because it helped with her career and she found love. I told her that she had the option to tell Noah the truth before me, but hubby and I were coming over tonight with a video of her admitting the affair, so she wouldn't be able to sway it in her favor. Again, she very nonchalantly said, okay, and hung up on me. I don't know what the heck is going on. I can't tell if she's having some sort of psychosis or she's literally just detached from her marriage, that she doesn't care what happens. Hubby and I still plan on going to Noah's tonight, but I'm honestly intrigued to see what she says to him, if she says anything at all. Let's check into the community for a couple of relevant comments. The OP on having the legal rights and consent to send the video evidence to Alyssa's workplace. The OP replies, I'm pretty sure we'll be fine legally if we do ever end up sharing it, we've decided against it for now. She knew we had cameras in our house. We have a very obvious Ring doorbell as well as outdoor cameras. The indoor ones are obvious as well. Plus, where we live, you have the right to record on your property without consent, so there would be no ability to retaliate against us. This is the whole reason I got so upset. She's a new hire with basically no experience in the field, and she got a promotion for the stereotypical banging the boss. She's always been the person to look for loopholes or easier ways to do stuff, but this is a new low. I hope at the very least the supervisor gets fired. Someone like that shouldn't be in a position of power because they obviously can't handle it. I've thought about maybe making an anonymous tip to the company about him specifically, but I don't want it to lead back to my ex-friend for now. The OP on telling Alyssa's husband about the video evidence and then going nuclear. The only reason I'm against it for now is because of some insightful comments. He's a very good man and he might forgive her and decide to reconcile. Even though I don't agree with it, it's his decision, and I don't want it to ruin his life by letting everyone know he stayed with a cheater. Someone also said affecting her job could affect the outcome of a possible divorce, and I wouldn't want anything to play against him. I completely agree, and hubby and I decided against going nuclear, because at the end of the day, soon-to-be ex will be the only one who gets hurt. It will be solely his decision, unless she tries to spread rumors or lies about me, my husband, or soon-to-be ex. I plan to tell him if she decides to try and spin this, I will send a clip of the video to anyone she tells and let it spread from there. One commenter says, agree. Also, OP, please be prepared for her husband to stay with his wife and cut you and your husband off. Marriages are complicated and sometimes things don't play out the way you imagine they will. You should tell him 100%, but what he does with that information is up to him. And please remember that this is not just blowing up your ex-friend's life, it's blowing up her husband's life too. It's his call whether he wants to go nuclear or not. The OP replies, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he decided to stay with her. He's a very forgiving man and may be willing to give it a shot. As tough as it will be, we do see ourselves going no contact with both of them unless a divorce were to take place. Because as much as we'd love to continue being friends and support husband, if ex-friend is part of that deal, we can't support that. It's really tough when someone you've known for so long completely goes off the rails like that, OP. It sounds like your friend is in way over her head and doesn't fully grasp the consequences of her actions. You're doing the right thing by looking out for her husband, OP. If she's willing to put her career before her own marriage, it sounds like she doesn't hold much value in any relationship in her life. Makes you question just how real your friendship really was all this time. Update. Apologize for not having time last night. We were obviously busy. People involved: ex-bestie, Alyssa. Bestie's hub, Noah. I took a lot of people's advice and decided not to go nuclear. As many people said, at the end of the day, it's not my circus. The decision should be left up to the wronged party, and that is Noah. I also decided to reach out to Alyssa before telling Noah, and decided to give her a chance to confess to Noah herself. After I talked to her, I was legit thinking about reaching out to her parents and medical help, because she was so unbothered and so non-remorseful about the affair, that I thought she was having some sort of mental breakdown or psychosis. Yeah, Alyssa's always been the kind to find loopholes or ways ahead, but cheating on your spouse of almost 2 decades for financial gain? It's not normal. If you didn't see my small update, the whole reason Alyssa started the affair was to get the promotion at work. It evolved into an emotional affair eventually, though. She admitted that her new friends from some feminism forums and Facebook groups told her she wasn't as valuable if she was making significantly less than her spouse. Something I learned she's been more insecure about than she's been telling people. They also told her that using a man isn't cheating as long as there's no emotional attachment. She's just being a girl boss. She admitted she couldn't separate her feelings from the intimate aspect and started going on regular dates and vacations, and eventually they started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. The affair partner knows she's married, but was told they were on the verge of separation. My hubby and I arrived at Noah's and Alyssa's with some booze and some dinner, and by the time we were there, Noah had already gone through a bottle of wine. Surprisingly, Alyssa did confess to Noah about the affair. He told us it was extremely non-apologetic, though. She sat him down and told him that she wasn't going on a business trip this week. She was going on a vacation with her boyfriend. Noah, being the clueless and loyal person he is, thought he meant to say husband and was so excited. He asked if they're going to Italy like they had planned, and Alyssa just stared at him. She repeated, "With my boyfriend." It took a few minutes, but it finally sunk in. He told us it wasn't pretty after that, and he said he embarrassingly got on his knees and begged her to fix everything. She yelled for a bit, but then just stonewalled him again. She was already packed to leave, and just left him there sobbing. She turned off her location, which both Noah and I were a part of her family on the app, and we have no idea where she went. We assume she went to her affair partner's house, because if she had gone home with 2 suitcases, her mother would have reached out to Noah immediately. She sees him as a son. We sat down with Noah and said we have video and audio proof of Alyssa exposing and explaining the affair, and we will send them to him in case he needs them. I explained to him that in a moment of blind rage, I was planning on going scorched earth and telling everyone. But once I calmed down and looked at this rationally, I realized that wasn't the right thing to do. The only person going full nuclear would hurt was him, because Alyssa obviously doesn't care anymore. As I suspected, the idea of reconciliation is still in his mind, but he doesn't see that happening. In order to reconcile, both parties must admit fault and want to reconcile. Alyssa clearly doesn't. We've gotten him in contact with a friend of my hubby, who agrees to help him pro bono until the divorce shows results. I can tell he's still hesitant about going forward with the divorce, but he knows he also can't force Alyssa to stay. As comments have suggested, this is where we bow out. We're obviously going to continue to support Noah, but it's not our situation to handle. It's his. If there's any future updates, I'll of course ask Noah first, but you'll be the second to know. Thanks for being so supportive and helpful. It made me realize that how Noah handles his life and his marriage is his responsibility, not mine. Edit to add, wanted to clear up some questions from the past post that I didn't really answer in the update. First one, what did Alyssa ever do to you that made you want to go nuclear? Honestly, nothing in particular. Like I said, for the past few years, our friendship has been for convenience at its best. We've basically been friends because we know each other so well, and we have at least one friend. Alyssa has always had qualities I don't agree with, but who doesn't? I think it was just the whole situation that made my blood boil, especially since Alyssa has always been disgusted by cheaters. She was the kind of person to cut dozens of people out of her life if it meant not supporting someone's infidelity. So for her to make a complete 180 and not even have guilt for it, it just grinds my gears. That's part of the reason I think she's having some sort of mental breakdown. Not only is it hypocritical, it's extremely out of character, even for her. Are you in love with Noah? Of course not. Singing someone's praises and trying to portray that they're a genuine and good person doesn't automatically mean you want to sleep with them. Our relationship has been nothing more than platonic for the entire time I've known him, because he loved Alyssa and I loved their happiness. I love my husband and literally only ever saw Noah like a brother. Logic, people. Now for a couple relevant comments. The first commenter says, I hope he, the husband, has some self-respect and dignity and goes through with the divorce. If he decides to inform their employer, tell him to do it after the divorce. The OP replies, as much as I love the guy, he basically worships the ground Alyssa walks on. If she came through the door right now and said sorry, even with no remorse behind it, I'm 99% sure he'd pretend like the last 4 months were a fever dream. The second commenter says, you handled this incredibly well, not even though it's a painful situation for all involved. Your thoughtful approach will likely help Noah through this difficult time. If there are future updates, I'm sure everyone following the story will be eager to hear how things unfold. Wishing you the best for Noah, and for you and your husband as you continue to support him. The OP replies, thank you. Like I said, I made this post and the decision to go nuclear in a fit of blind rage, but I soon realized I was being irrational. It's not my place to serve Alyssa vigilante justice. In all honesty, if she's not careful, she may out herself at work, and it's their decision what to do with the two of them. The OP on notifying Alyssa's workplace. I'm not going to. If Noah decides to reconcile, she'll be out of a job, which just adds to the problems that caused by the affair in the first place. If she gets fired during the divorce, it could be grounds for alimony she doesn't deserve. The OP on notifying Alyssa's workplace. I'm not going to. If Noah decides to reconcile, she'll be out of a job, which just adds to the problem caused by their affair in the first place. If she gets fired during the divorce, it could be grounds for the attorney she doesn't deserve. the OP on what forum Alyssa got the advice from. It wasn't a national or creditable group. It was called the Independent Women of Insert State, and it's a bunch of women who give advice and other stuff tailored to laws and jobs in our state. The advice she got was from a group of women she met in the group who had their own personal group chat. She called them her friends, but I guarantee none of them are going to help her pick up her life now that it's ruined. Giving Alyssa a chance to confess to him was a brave move, and it's clear you were trying to handle this with as much empathy as possible, but it's unsettling to hear how unbothered Alyssa seemed during your conversation. Her behavior definitely raises red flags, and it makes sense that you'd be concerned for her mental well-being. You did all you could. Wishing you all the best as you continue to support Noah through this difficult time, OP. Have you ever had to reveal some hard truths? Share your stories with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.